Hello, and thanks for tuning in to Between Two Forces, Episode 2. I'm Jedi Johnson 22, representing the light side of the Force, and I'm joined, as always, by.
Darth Ramrugason representing the dark side.
This is a show where the good and the bad, the dark and the light, lay down their differences. We leave them at the door to discuss Star Wars by asking 4 questions to the Dark Lord, Darth Ramrugason. So, are you ready, my friend?
Actually, there's one thing I wanted to say at the beginning. I was asked why the questions are answered to me, or asked to me anyway. And I've always been told I have a unique perspective when it comes to Star Wars. I dig a lot
You do.
into the actual movies. I put myself in the characters' positions, and that's mainly the reason that the questions are answered to me. I'm not a be all, end all, know all. I have a unique perspective. That's the only reason I'm doing it.
You do have a unique perspective. And like I said, I think I said in a couple of my videos, you have some very valid points, not points that everyone's going to agree with, but certainly points that you kind of got to scratch your head and like, yeah, maybe he's onto something there.
Yeah.
So, if you're ready, let's get right into it.
Let's go.
Let me grab my papers. So we're doing 4 questions, like I said, and let's see which one we want to do first. Let's just jump right in with question number 1. In episode whatever, C3PO could not transcribe some of the ancient Sith language because it went against his programming. But in Return of the Jedi, he impersonated a deity, even though it went against his programming. Did J.J. Abrams not realize this contradiction, or did he believe that by this part of Episode 9 that no one would be awake anyway? It really didn't matter.
I don't believe in Return of the Jedi he impersonated a deity. He literally says against his programming to impersonate a deity. He just sat in a chair and they took him to the Ewok village. I didn't
He kind
take it
of
as
did.
him.
You didn't take it as him actually
I
pretending to be
no
a deity?
no he as I think about it, he he was basically a translator between the guys and the Ewoks. He just translated.
So he was a victim of circumstance, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
So he
yeah,
was there. He wasn't making himself a deity. Luke, via the
yeah.
Force, was making him seem like a deity.
Right. And that might be going against his program in one way, but translating the Sith was done by the Republic. So I'm pretty sure it's more of like a higher level of him not being able to do it, not just, hey, don't pretend to be a deity. That's the way I took it. I didn't
He
think he
wasn't
actually.
screaming "No, stop! It hurts" or anything. I
No,
mean, he
no.
seemed to be enjoying it after a while.
Yeah, yeah, he did, but yeah, I didn't take him in Return of the Jedi impersonating. It was more like him translating.
I loved it.
Um,
I thought he was getting the due that very he was getting his well deserved dues. Uh, he deserves to be treated as a deity. He looks like, I mean, he's
He's
the
gold.
golden
Yeah,
god,
absolutely,
goldenrod.
golden god.
All
Don't
right,
mention that to Anthony Daniels. He hates that.
he doesn't like the golden
He
god or
doesn't like
golden rod.
the golden rod photo
Oh, he
or
doesn't like
card.
that.
He doesn't. Yeah, he hates it. He'll tear it up in front of you.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
You've seen him do this?
I've seen him do it. One on video and one live. This one guy tried to get him to sign the card, and he was like, "I don't sign this." Tears it up. Throws it. I've seen him do it.
Man, that's a lawsuit. He tears up my golden rod. I have one. If he ever tore it up, I'm glad you warned me because I'm
Yeah, don't
getting
ever
nowhere
take it to
near
him.
Anthony Daniels.
Yeah, don't
Going
take it
nowhere
to
near
him.
that guy with it. Okay, so in your perspective, he was not imitating a deity in Return of the Jedi. He was just kind of going with the flow, letting whatever
Right.
happen,
It
just rolling with it.
had he had done what Han said when he was like, use your divine influence and get us out of this. Had he done it right then and there, then I'd be like, okay, he's impersonating a deity. But all they did was sit him in a chair and they carried him. He's not presenting himself as a deity. And when he got there, he was literally translating when Luke says C-3PO, tell them if they don't do that as you wish, you become angry and use your magic. And he's just translating that to the Ewoks. It's not him saying it to
And
try
that's
to
when
get
he
them out
started
of it.
floating and doing.
Right.
Okay, so what about is there anything you want to add about that scene in episode 9 where that whole scene, which I think, just to be honest, as a C-3PO fan, one of my favorite scenes, by the way. In fact, I use it in some of my IG videos, is when C-3PO turned to his friends and said he's taking one last look at his friends. I love that. I love that scene. Call me a lush or whatever. I don't care. Old softy. I thought that was a great scene. What do you think? Anything about that whole sequence that either you loved or you didn't love about that?
Well, when I actually saw the trailer for that and I saw his eyes turn red, there was always something that bothered me ever since episode 1 that didn't bother a lot of people. Again, I take my Star Wars thinking to a degree that most people don't. I always thought that maybe they were going to go back further than Anakin. And I've mentioned this to a few people, and they were like, "What do you mean? Anakin's the one that created him?" And I'm like, "Absolutely. Anakin built C-3PO from parts he found. He didn't purchase C-3PO's brain fresh off the line. He found these parts and built a droid." And to me, I always thought that there was a past before Anakin, but I think that would probably piss off a lot of people because people
Well,
keep
it's
saying
funny you
that
say that
oh,
because you and I have talked about that before off
yeah,
camera about, hey, wouldn't it be interesting? Because I love C-3PO, and you're like, hey,
yeah.
wouldn't it be interesting to know how that? And it's interesting in the new Johnston novel, I'm sorry, Queen's Hope, that was just
Yes,
released.
I have not
There
read
is
that.
a line in there I'm listening to it. I'm not reading it, but there is a
Mhm.
line in there that says basically, and I'm paraphrasing, that Padme wondered how uh, C-3PO's processor chips, whatever,
Mhm.
ended up on Tatooine for Anakin to find.
Wow.
It's
So
actually
maybe
when I read it, I was like, oh man, Ruben
from
and I were just talking about this.
maybe somebody in Lucasfilm does deep dives like I do. I'm assuming everybody does. I mean, I'm sure just a group of people just thinking stuff up and somebody backing them up. So, I mean, I could see that. That's something that bothered me since episode 1 though. Like I was always like, I wonder where his brain came from. And I know a lot of people say that Lucasfilm or Disney, they're trying to erase what George Lucas created, but it, if you think about it, a slave boy would not be able to afford a brand new one. That would be common sense to me. To
He
me,
would just have to come across it in a junkyard or
yeah, like
whatever,
he found
kind
it
of
and
like
it
a
was
real
like,
steel. Just kind of found it.
yeah, just like, hey, here we go. Let me build a protocol droid to help mom. That's pretty much is what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I love promoting. Is it E.K. Johnston? I mean, I love those books. I've said it several times.
Mm,
Those are my favorite books. And
yeah.
if you get a chance to read it or listen to it like I'm doing, it kind of touches a little bit. I haven't finished it yet. It kind of
Mm,
touches a little bit on some of the tinkering, the purpose of some of the tinkering that Anakin was doing, and that his mother
mm.
carried on after he went off to join the order. So
Oh wow.
pretty
I'm
good.
gonna have, I'm
It's
gonna have to
pretty good. I
listen to
haven't
those
finished it
books.
yet,
Yeah.
but yeah, pretty nice. All right, so let's move on. So this next question is from one of our viewers, and
No.
we thank them for this question. This is question number 2. Sequel cringe
Cringe. Cringe without the
says
G.
cringe.
E.
There were there were several creepy moments in the sequels. Which
Sequels.
one do you think they probably should have edited out? But you're glad they didn't because it reminds you of Domtober.
I don't think anything reminded me of Don Topper, to be honest.
Creepy
Uh,
things remind
creepy
people of
things.
Domtober. I don't know why.
Creepy things that happened in the movie. I wouldn't say I. There are some moments that I'm kind of like, they should have done it a little different. I don't consider them creepy, especially none of that reminds me of Don Tober. I guess anything with the Emperor, the clone Palpatine should remind me of Dom, but I'm just kidding, Dom. Um, if as long as As I think about it, creepy moments, not really. If you want cringe moments, I can do that. Like,
What about Lando? Was Lando a little cringy? Kind of his behavior around the young women.
you know what? Now that you
But
think
that's
about it,
Lando,
yeah,
right?
it's Lando. That's just the way he is. I mean, you can't. We left him off at a certain part in Return of the Jedi. You can't expect him to branch off or become, I guess, better or worse. I mean, it has to be an equal plane, right? It has to be. He's a smooth talker, and he's always had been, and he was trying to do it
He's a
again. So
flirt.
he
Yeah,
was a flirt. Yeah, a flirt's a flirt.
he's always he's always mission centric, kind of underneath
Yeah.
all that mission centric. But yeah,
Yes.
he's a flirt. That's for
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
nothing else. Nothing else was creepy.
Um,
Not a shirtless Kylo Ren. That was a little cringe. You okay
um,
with that?
maybe at the moment when I saw it, I was like, "That's weird," but it goes along with the whole Rey Kylo interaction where they found each other attractive, which led to their love, as a, I guess probably their affection towards each other, which could be another question because a lot of people are like, "How did it happen so fast?" And I'm just like, "There's a reason for it. They just don't spell it out for you." So
So okay, so you bring that up. So let me dive into that a little bit.
okay.
Was their attraction romantic, or was it more like family attraction, like brother and sister? Was it
Um,
sexual?
I don't. I believe it was more okay. If that's what you're going to ask me, like why they actually became a like at the very end, why they kissed, why they were attracted. This is kind of going to be kind of a long story. Is that okay?
Did they kiss? I don't even remember.
They kissed at the end. They did. They absolutely
Romantically?
did. Romantically kissed. Yes, at the very
Oh,
end.
okay. All right,
Yeah.
sequel cringe. That was okay.
Now you're asking
Go
me.
ahead, go ahead.
You're asking me about the whole their attraction. That's the
Yeah, let's go for it.
all right.
We've already jumped in. Now let's just do it.
Okay. So a lot of people had an issue with their attraction. At the very beginning, when they first met, when he takes his helmet off, you could tell that they were attracted to each other. That's not neither here nor there. Now, a lot of people go from she hated him, called him a monster, to at the very end she loved him. How did that happen? And I, the way I'm going to ask you this, I don't know very much about you, Jedi, but I'm going to ask you some personal things real quick.
I'm an open
One,
book. That's
okay, one, how from the moment you met your wife to the moment you fell in love, how long
keep
do you
my
think?
wife's name. No,
How long was that? How long was that? Like,
uh, before we got married.
no, no, no. From the moment you met her to the moment you fell in
Okay,
love, how long was that?
6 months, 7 months.
6 months. Yeah, perfect. No, most people I ask is to 6 months to a year. So yeah, 6 months, and then 6 months to you got married. How long was that?
Well, my wife was a foreign national, so we had a little bit of red tape to go through. So probably about another 8 to 9 months, maybe close to a year.
Okay, so in a year and a half, you went from not knowing this woman to being in love, falling in love, and getting married. Okay, now I'm not trying to get you in trouble. Okay, I'm not trying to get you in trouble with this next question, but it has to be asked. On a scale of 1 to 10, one you kind of love her, 10 you cannot love her anymore. Where do you sit?
What do you think I'm going to say? This is
I
this is
I
on the internet. This is
I know,
forever.
I know, but there's a reason I'm asking this
10.
question. A 10, right? You cannot be any. I'm the exact same way. I love my wife a 10. There's no way I love her anymore, right? Now, let's go back in time. From the moment you met her, if you could get into her mind and she could get into yours, and you could feel and understand what she's thinking when she sees you, and if you could do the same to her, if you could, you know her fears, you know what makes her happy, what makes her sad, what makes her excited to see you, what makes her whatever. If you knew all those things just by linking your brains to one another, do you think your 6 months would have been 6 months, or do you think it would have been longer or shorter or about the same?
The initial 6 months could have been
Yes.
shorter.
Do you think that 6 months, if you knew exactly how she felt, everything
Yeah,
about
yeah,
her,
probably shorter.
probably shorter, right?
And
Probably
then when she realized what a turd I am, my marriage would have probably been shorter too. But
okay, but it would have been shorter, right? You two would have fell in love shorter distance. Now, if right now, if you could get into your wife's brain and She understands you. You understand her. You don't have to. You never have to say what's wrong.
Getting a
You
little
never have to.
uncomfortable here, Brandon. Moving on.
I understand that, but you have to take it from the movie standpoint. And me, the way I
Oh,
take
we're
these
talking about
movies,
Ray and Kylo
talking
here.
about Ray and Kylo, they knew each other's feelings. What made them happy, what made them sad, what made them excited, everything like that. That's why their love became so fast, so quick. It's because they have a level of intimacy that you and I will never have, ever. I cannot get in my wife's brain. She can't get into my brain. She doesn't know how I feel
So
about
because
her.
of that linking of the brains, is that why
Yes.
they loved each other, but they also kind of hated each other?
Right. She knew who he was. He had
Yeah.
that dual personality. He had the Kylo side and the
Not really
Ben
change the
side.
subject here, Ram.
I know, I know, I know. But let me ask you another thing. One last thing before we move on to the next question. You said you gave your love for your wife a 10. If you could get into your wife's brain right now and understand how, and you could have that intimacy, do you think it would be more, less, or about the same?
How can it be
'Cause
more than a 10?
I'm no more love. I'm not more or less or about the same. Like if you could go higher than 10,
Oh,
you would be more than 10.
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely, right? Because it's a level of intimacy that we just don't understand. That's why that relationship went so fast, so quick, because they knew each other. They didn't have to. They didn't have to be with each other. They just get into each other's brains. Which that's how I took
All
that.
right. So this whole question has become kind of cringe for me.
I understand.
So we're gonna move on.
It's a little bit of fluff, but
Hopefully by the time this airs, I'm still a married man. All right.
I
All right.
hope
So,
nobody edits that part out. That's the issue that I don't want. I don't want them
oh
to
man,
edit that
somebody
part
edits that wrong. Oh,
out.
all right. If you're watching, please don't. I don't want to be a meme or any sort of TikTok or whatever's going on out there
Just
nowadays.
you're gonna see you just be like um, a 10.
Yeah. If you're gonna ask me that question, I'm just gonna be like, okay.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on before let's just move on.
Yes.
All right, so from another one of our fans out there, one of our viewers. I don't know if we have fans. I should just say viewers, probably.
We have viewers.
Yeah.
We have viewers.
All right, question number 3. This question comes from SW Suckrels. Suckrels. I think they meant sequels, but Suckrels. Okay, it's probably the typo. Do you think Disney is done with the sequel's core characters, or are there just still too many Rose, Ray, Finn, and Poe action figures in the Walmart Target clearance bins?
There are a lot of those figures. I'll tell you that. I don't think they're done with the characters. If
Oh wait, by the way, the Q and the K are nowhere near each other on the keyboard.
yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what Suckrels is. I don't know what that means. Go ahead.
No, you're
My old
absolutely right. They're
typing
not.
101 came back to me.
Um, I don't think they're done with the characters. I don't think you, as a company, you spend $4.5 billion on a company and make 3 movies in that timeline and be done with it. I went through this on the Star Wars Sunday show back in late December. I think that, in my opinion, I think what their Lucasfilm is trying to do is create gray Jedi and call them Skywalker. So I do think that Ray, Finn, Poe, all of them will come back. I can't wait for it, to be honest. I actually think that they might announce something
Are we going to be
at.
alive for this, Ram?
Well,
Are we
yes,
going to be
yes,
alive when this happens?
yes.
I mean,
Um,
the clock is going against me on this. I may never see this.
you may
There's
not,
nothing in the works, right?
I may not, so I don't know. But there's nothing in the works. I think it's really coincidental. I don't believe in coincidences too much, but I think it's very coincidental that Daisy Ridley opened up her Instagram page back up
I thought the same.
a
Yeah.
month before Star Wars Celebration. And now I don't have any inside. I don't work for Lucasfilm. I don't know anything. I think that just seems a little interesting. I don't know why. Um, but if it goes on with the patterns that it has been, because the original trilogy was the late 70s, early 80s. The prequels were late 1990s, early 2000s, and then the sequels were late teens, early 20s. So if you go by that logic, technically the next 3 should be the end of the 20s, the beginning of the 30s. So that sounds
Wow.
weird.
Okay.
God, that sounds weird.
I'll be able to use my my AARP senior citizen discount at the movies.
Right. You're like, I just want a free popcorn. But I do think that there's more to them. I don't think a lot of people didn't like how they treated John Boyega's character Finn. I don't think he should have. I wanted more of that character too, but if you look at it, the Skywalker saga should have been focused on the Skywalkers, which they did. And I think the Skywalker, if they create a new set of movies and they call it the Skywalker Legacy, I I can almost guarantee if they were to do something like that, that he's going to be a major character if they allow him to come back since he did that stupid tweet. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Social media gets you every time.
Yeah.
So it seems like probably the characters are the same, but depending on the time, we may not necessarily have the same actors.
I think they're going to keep the same actors. I mean, everybody there's young. I mean, the new Chewie did a great job. The only person that they would have to try to hurry up for is Anthony Daniels. To be honest, I don't know how old he is off the top of my head, but
I was just focusing on
getting
these core new characters is really what I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean everybody.
We all love Anthony Daniels. We all love.
Yeah.
Well, Peter's not around anymore. Rest in peace. But
yeah,
I mean, let's be real. You can substitute actors for those characters.
Yeah, you can.
We won't like it as much, obviously. You know, because at our core, we love those actors.
Yeah,
but you could.
But you could. Technically,
these 4 characters are really what I was kind of aiming at with that question.
Right.
Or Suckles was, sorry.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, that's the only, and this is all speculation. This is something I just would want personally. I would want to see Finn pick up a lightsaber and continue a journey because they left the groundwork for him to be a Force user, and we know that Jaina needs to find her lineage because her and Lando had that conversation at the end, and there are things that they left, and I think that's on purpose. So.
Yeah, something else, and we're running. I mean, well, we got plenty of time, but I found it interesting. If you're reading the new Star Wars comic book, where we're kind of seeing relationships between Poe's parents and Princess Leia and some of the rebellion leadership. And to me, the storyline it's on right now, and I may be the only one that's overthinking this, but you kind of see kind of why Princess Leia treats Poe kind of the way she does in the sequels with that short leash, leash, because of his father. His father is, as we're seeing in the comics now, Poe's got a lot of his dad in him. Right. And you can kind of see Poe's father, who I can't think of the name right now, but kind of testing Leia's patience in a lot of the same ways that Poe does in the sequels.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. And a lot of people might think it's become, some kind of retcon, but I like the story. I mean, it's not, the Star Wars comics aren't the greatest series that's going on right now, but I'm still enjoying them. So.
Great. Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the last question. Let me take that one down because we're done with it. Question number 4.
Oh.
In episode, we find a failing clone of Emperor Palpatine needing and scheming to download into the young body of Rey in order to regain his reign over the galaxy and rule again with fear, cruelty, and hate. Do you feel this is a public service announcement of sorts, screaming out against the dangers of cloning and DNA sites like Ancestry.com and 23andMe?
No, I have never thought of that. That has never even crossed my mind. I take these movies to a different degree, and I've never even taken it there. I don't think cloning. I mean, I believe cloning might be a danger, but that's me personally. But the DNA websites, Ancestry.me, that I know people that have used those, and they just wanted to know.
Connecting the dots, man.
No,
You're not
That's
connecting the dots.
that is not something that I ever have thought about. So if you want to try to convince
You
me
think I'm
that they're
strange?
yeah, that's a little off, but that's up to you.
Little conspiracy theory there.
Yeah, I don't think
Little
that's a
outer
conspiracy.
realm.
No, no, I don't
You
think
can't
there's.
even answer it. It's so
No, I
absurd. You can't even
I
answer that question.
I don't think they're like I said, there may be dangers of cloning, but learning who you are or where your DNA is from, I don't think that's a bad thing. A lot of people have done it that I know, and they found out something about their past that they had no idea about. So I think that's a good thing. So,
No Star Wars though.
nothing to do with Star Wars.
Nothing to do with Star Wars. All right.
Yeah.
You see, I had a thought on this. So here's my question. Since that question is so absurd, that I'll just have to ad lib another question in there,
Okay.
and let's just get rid of it. Whoever wrote that was an idiot. All right. So in Rebels, I don't know if it's. I assume it's canon. In Rebels, we saw basically what boils down to kind of time travel, right? Ezra
Yeah.
saved Ahsoka via time travel.
Right. The world between worlds.
So if that exists, wouldn't
Mhm.
that have been a more viable plan or option for Palpatine's immortality than, say, cloning?
If he doesn't, I don't know, he doesn't know how to access it correctly. He's trying to
But
find
it's
it in
there.
Rebels.
He didn't know how to clone correctly either, but he
Right.
pursued it. Why wouldn't he pursue this other thing? So you're saying he
Well,
did, and he's like an ultimate Force user. You're saying he didn't know that tunnel of whatever it was existed?
no, he knew the world between worlds existed, and he was trying to use it as a survival technique. But Ezra blew it up, and he never actually was able to enter it himself. It was just that I don't know how they used it, how they worded it, but he never actually knew where it was. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah, I'll
it's
take your
gone.
word
I
for it.
mean, like no, I took it as it's gone. It's like Ezra blew that thing into pieces, so it's gone now.
So
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 I
Dave
think he was trying to
Dave
use
got
it,
rid
but
of it because he
it's
probably
yeah.
realized they brought it back to save a fan favorite, and then he realized, okay, this is extremely dangerous. Let's get rid of it for the storyline.
Yeah, for the storyline. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if they find another one somewhere else on another planet and try to do something else, then that's a completely different story. But that world between worlds on that planet is gone. At least that's how I took it.
Okay. All right. Simple enough. So one more thing, since Pete's already going to be upset that we're like way over our time limit,
Oh
but hey,
yes.
Pete's a good guy. He doesn't care. One last question, and I guess I could save this for a future episode, but let's go ahead and do it because I think we kind of opened the door to this a little bit. And now I completely forgot what I was going to say.
No worries.
Oh my god. Okay. So yeah. So in the comics, also we've been reintroduced to Sabe, and as
Mhm.
if you watch the show on Sunday, you know Sabe is one of my favorites. I like Sabe
Yeah.
because she is a big part of the E.K. Johnston novels,
Mhm.
Queen's Hope, Peril, etc. Okay, so what I would like to see, because we were talking about the future of the sequels, in going forward,
Mhm.
I would love to see Sabe somehow. Hopefully, she survives all these encounters she's having with Vader in the comics. I would love to see Sabe turn up in the sequels and kind of be like an Obi-Wan type, maybe. I mean, I know she's not a Force user, but I would like to see that
Right.
because in her ongoing quest to stop slavery, which is one of what she's basically been tasked to do by Amidala or by Padme,
Right.
to stop human trafficking, slavery, that kind of stuff. I would like to see that maybe go forward in the future. I don't know if it'll happen. Probably not. I never get what I want.
Well,
But
she at the end of Return of the Jedi, she would be late 50s. So if you add 30
she
years, she
would
would be in her
be.
80s.
Oh God, yeah, you're right. I hate timelines. God Almighty.
She would
Okay.
be in her 80s.
Yeah, I
So
forgot. She wouldn't be Leia's age. She would be
yeah, she would
Padme's
be
age.
Padme.
For
Yeah,
God's sakes.
Padme's age. Yeah.
All right. Dang it,
Sorry.
Ruben, you ruin everything.
Well, I would like a
You're
Keira
supposed to
Knightley
come on here and
series.
make people feel better.
I know, but I would like a Keira Knightley series if they wanted to do one.
This
But
is why I don't like timelines, because I don't understand them. I don't get them. They confuse my little brain. All right. Okay, so hey, we've hit the 30-minute mark.
yes, yes.
So let's wrap this thing up. So let me so I am Jedi Johnson 22. You can follow me on IG if you choose to. I try to post some stuff, interesting stuff that at least I think is funny. And Darth Ram Rugensan is on IG as well. Follow him. He's always fun to follow on there and see what's going through that mastermind of his. So also, as we wrap this thing up, we just want to thank everybody for watching Between Two Forces Episode 2. Be sure to give us some likes, give us lots of comments, and give us as many views as you can with all your accounts that you got going on out there.
Yeah.
Subscribe to Rennavision, where we're always striving to keep you entertained with fun and informative content. Any last words, my friend?
No, just drop the comments. Drop your questions in the comment section, not in the chat, because AOA, who is a viewer, was saying Rey Skywalker, Rey Skywalker. If that's something AOA, if you want me to talk about it, hey man, drop it in the comment. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from everybody, because there's a lot of questions. A lot of people just tend to not like certain things, and that's what I'm just to give you my
Drop it in the comments or
Yeah,
DM us. DM us,
yeah,
message us on our
yeah,
IG. Let us know.
yeah,
We'll work it into the show if it's something you're curious about.
definitely.
All right. Thanks again, everyone. And we'll see you guys next time.
May the
Episode
force be
3.
with you.